Have you ever wondered about the U.S. national debt? It's a number so big, with so many zeros, that it just feels unreal. Trillions of dollars. What does that even mean for us? Well, today we're going to break it all down, but forget the confusing economic jargon. They're going to use something much simpler. Bananas. All right, imagine you run a small banana stand. Let's call it Uncle Sam's Banana Emporium. Every year you sell bananas to your community. The money you earn from selling these bananas is like the U.S. government's tax revenue. It's your income. Let's say you earn 100 bananas worth of money each year. That sounds pretty good, right? But here's the thing. Running a banana stand isn't free. You need to pay for things. You have to buy new bananas to stock your shelves, pay for the stand's upkeep. You hire someone to help you peel them. And you also promised your grandma you'd give her a few free bananas every week. These expenses are like the U.S. government's spending. Defense, Social Security, healthcare, infrastructure, all that stuff. Now, what if your expenses add up to 120 bananas a year, but you only earn 100? Uh-oh, you're short 20 bananas. It's this shortfall, this 20 banana gap, is what we call a budget deficit. You spent more than you earned in a single year. So what do? You can't just magically create 20 more bananas. You need to get them from somewhere. So you go to your wealthy neighbor, let's call her China, and you say, hey, can I borrow 20 bananas? I'll write you an IOU, and I promise to pay you back later, with a little extra banana on top as interest. Your neighbor agrees and gives you the 20 bananas. Phew, crises averted for this year. You've covered your expenses. The IOU you just gave out is like a U.S. Treasury bond. It's a loan. And that 20 banana debt you just took on is added to your total pile of debt. Now, imagine this doesn't just happen one year. It happens year after year after year. Every year you spend 120 bananas, but only earn 100. So every year you borrow another 20 bananas. After 5 years, your total debt is now 100 bananas. After 10 years, it's 200 bananas. This growing pile of IOUs is the national debt. It's the grand total of all the yearly deficits added together. The U.S. has been running these banana deficits for most of its recent history. So this debt has been piling up for decades, growing larger and larger. But who are we borrowing all these bananas from? Well, it's not just one wealthy neighbor. It's a whole bunch of people and countries. A big chunk is borrowed from other countries like Japan and China, who buy U.S. Treasury bonds because they're seen as a very safe investment. It's like everyone trusts Uncle Sam's Banana Emporium to eventually pay back its IOUs. A surprisingly large portion of the debt is also held by Americans themselves. Through pension funds, mutual funds, and even individual savings, people buy these bonds. Even the U.S. government itself holds some of its own debt through agencies like the Social Security Trust Fund. So, in a way, Uncle Sam is borrowing from his own piggy bank. You might be thinking, okay, so we're in debt. But as long as people keep lending us bananas, what's the big deal? Well, remember that little extra banana you promised to pay back as interest? That's a crucial part of the story. Every banana you borrow comes with an interest payment. The bigger your total debt, the more bananas you have to pay in interest each year. Imagine your debt is now 1,000 bananas. The interest alone might cost you 30 bananas every single year. Think about it. Those 30 bananas are just for interest payments, aren't going towards buying new stock, fixing your stand, or giving your grandma her share. They're just the cost of being in debt. This is a real cost for the U.S. government. A significant portion of the federal budget goes just to paying interest on the national debt. That's money that could have been used for schools, roads, scientific research, or healthcare. As the debt gets bigger, the interest payments get bigger. It can create a dangerous cycle. You have to borrow more bananas just to pay the interest on the bananas you already borrowed. It's like using one credit card to pay off another. This is where things can start to get really tricky. So, how does this affect you and me, the regular folks who just want to eat a banana? Well, there are a few ways. First, those big interest payments mean there's less money for government services that we all use. Think of it as your banana stand, having to spend so much on interest that you can't afford to fix the leaky roof or give your employees a raise. For a country, that could mean less funding for education, infrastructure projects being delayed, or cuts to social programs. Second, a huge national debt can worry investors. If the debt at your banana stand gets outrageously high, your neighbors might start to wonder if you'll ever be able to pay them back. They might start demanding a higher interest rate to compensate for the increased risk. If that happens to the U.S., borrowing becomes more expensive, which makes the debt grow even faster. This can also make interest rates go up for everyone, affecting car loans, mortgages, and business loans. Third, there's the risk of inflation. What if instead of borrowing, you just decided to print more banana money to pay your bills? At first, it seems like an easy solution. But if you flood the market with too much banana money, the value of each banana dollar goes down. Suddenly, a banana that used to cost $1 now costs $2. That's inflation. Makes everyone's savings worth less, and their daily expenses go up. While the U.S. doesn't just print money recklessly, managing a huge debt can create pressures that contribute to inflation. So how do we fix this? How does Uncle Sam's Banana Emporium get its finances in order? Logically, there are only two ways to close the 20 banana gap each year. You either need to earn more bananas, or you need to spend fewer bananas. Or ideally, a bit of both. Earning more bananas is like the government raising taxes. This is always a touchy subject. Nobody likes paying more in taxes, and there are big debates about who should pay more: corporations, the wealthy, the middle class. It's a political balancing act. Spending fewer bananas means cutting government programs. This is also incredibly difficult. Do you cut spending on defense? Do you reduce benefits for retirees? Do you spend less on healthcare or infrastructure? Every single one of those cuts affects real people and has powerful groups defending it. It's like telling your grandma she's not getting her free bananas anymore. Good luck with that conversation. This is the heart of the political debate in Washington. One side says, we need to cut spending. The other side says, we need to raise revenue, especially from the wealthy. And a third group says, the debt isn't as big a problem as you think. Let's focus on growing the economy. Growing the economy is like making your banana stand super popular. If your business booms and you start earning 200 bananas a year instead of 100, then your 120 banana expense budget suddenly looks a lot more manageable. A strong growing economy increases tax revenues naturally without even raising tax rates, making the debt easier to handle. This is why you often hear politicians talk about economic growth as a solution to the debt problem. But what if we just don't pay? What if Uncle Sam just says, sorry, I can't pay back my IOUs? This is called a default, and it would be catastrophic. If the banana stand defaults, no one will ever lend you a banana again. Your reputation is ruined. For the U.S., a default would be a global economic earthquake. U.S. Treasury bonds are considered the safest financial asset in the world. The entire global financial system is built on that trust. If that trust disappears, it could trigger a worldwide financial crisis, far worse than anything we've seen before. That's why, despite all the political drama you see on the news about the debt ceiling, a default is an outcome that everyone desperately wants to avoid. So there you have it. The U.S. National Debt explained with a banana stand. It's the total pile of IOUs from years of spending more bananas than we earn. It matters because the interest payments take away from other priorities. It can affect interest rates for all of us. And if it gets too out of hand, it could risk the stability of our entire economy. The solutions earning more or spending less are simple, in theory, but incredibly complicated in practice, which is why it's a constant source of debate. It's not about being a Democrat or a Republican. It's a fundamental math problem with real-world consequences for all of us. Hopefully, the next time you hear a news report about the national debt, the budget deficit, or the debt ceiling, it'll make a little more sense. Just picture a giant, ever-growing pile of banana IOUs. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you understand a complex topic, give it a thumbs up, and consider subscribing for more simple explanations of big ideas. Let me know in the comments what other topics you'd like to see broken down. See you next time.